So if you've watched most of my videos, you've probably been wondering how I've been learning some of my tricks really fast, especially considering the level I'm at of skating when I was learning those tricks. So I've done some crazy tricks such as like a triple kickflip, laser flips, nightmare flips, tray double flip, fakey big double flip, just things like that where when I learned those I didn't really have much skill at the time. I just used some certain tips to learn those tricks. So in this video I'm going to give you 5 tips of how to learn any skate trick. And I know saying any skate trick is kind of funny. You're not going to be able to just kickflip down to a Toro or whatever using these tips. It's basically just a generic rule to go over how to teach yourself how to skate. So one thing I like to think of is there's that quote where you say if you give a man a fish, you're going to feed him for a day, but if you teach him how to fish, you're going to feed him for a lifetime. So it's almost the same thing. I can make a whole bunch of trick tips. I'll still make trick tips because I'm going to go over the common errors and help people how to fix those errors, but one thing I want to do is teach you how to learn tricks, because if you do this, you can learn so much from this. You don't have to look for a video every single time to try to learn how to do it. So in this video, make sure you watch all the 5 tips. I'm telling you, if you watch all of them, you're going to learn how to do all your tricks, especially if you're just starting. It's going to help you so much in the long run. I'm telling you, it's going to be so helpful. So the first one that I want to give you, this is super slept on. You want to film yourself when skating. It is super simple. All you got to do is have one of these. You don't even have to have a phone. You can have an iPod Touch, you can have a mini digital camera. It could be anything. And what you want to do is you want to film yourself while skating. And the reason you want to do this is because when you're doing your tricks, you're just looking at your feet. You can't really see what you're doing wrong too much. When you film yourself, you're going to be able to see your whole body and what you're doing when you're doing tricks. So if you've ever messaged me on Instagram needing help on a trick, I always ask people, can you send me a video of what's going wrong? Because if you just tell me, I can't really see what's going wrong. I can just give you general tips for what you're asking me for. But if I can see specifically what's going on, it's a little easier for me to tell what to fix with what trick you're doing. So one thing that can really help you is getting a small tripod. I have a link to one of these in the description. I use this all the time with my phone when I was learning tricks, just because it was hard to prop it up on like a curb or something with my phone and get a good video of it. If you can't afford a tripod, then go use a curb if you can, but having these will make it a lot easier to see what you're doing wrong. So just make sure you actually film yourself when skating, because it's going to be a lot easier to see what's going wrong when you're trying your tricks. Also, when you film yourself doing your tricks, you're going to be able to see your progress within your skating, and that is really important because it will keep you motivated. Skateboarding progress is a little slow, so you may not be able to notice it over time, but if you film yourself and you look at it over that long period of time, you're going to be able to see your progress a whole lot clearer. The second tip I want to give is to make sure when you're trying your tricks, make sure you're analyzing what's happening when you're trying them. I feel like this tip is not really taken that much because it's almost self-explanatory, but I see a lot of people not really focusing on what they're doing wrong. So just for example, like let's say in most of my trick tips when I go over something, for example, if you're slipping out too much and you're falling backwards, something you want to try to do is lean forward while you're doing that trick. Or let's say you're falling over the nose of your board and you're not able to keep rolling or something like that, then you want to make sure you don't lean as far forward or maybe lean back to counteract that. So that kind of falls along the lines of the first tip of filming yourself. It's going to be a lot easier to see those errors that are happening in your tricks. So if you film yourself, you can also see those errors and then try to counteract them with what you're doing wrong. You can also compare them to other people landing the trick, and then you can kind of see what they're doing and what you're not doing, and it's going to be a lot more clear on what to do. And I'm telling you, when you're looking at the tricks or comparing to other people, make sure you look pretty hard, such as like the foot position, like how people are leaning, like where their body weight is shifting, things like that. Just try to look into it really hard, because when you think about what you're doing on the skateboard instead of just randomly trying the trick, it's going to be a lot easier to learn them because you're actually trying to fix what you're doing in order until you get it right. And just a quick little bonus tip that can help you with that: when you're filming with yourself, maybe try to film in slow motion too, because you'll be able to see it a lot more smoother than if it's playing too fast. So also try to film in slow motion if you can. So tip number 3, I also like to stress this a lot. Make sure you make small milestones. You do not want to jump too far ahead when trying to learn your tricks. So let's say I could barely ollie, then why would I want to try a kickflip right off the bat? That's pretty self-explanatory, but also you can take that into breaking tricks into mini parts. So let's say, just for a kickflip, let's say you want to practice where you're just starting and maybe you can't get to flip all the way. So you want to at least get it to flip halfway. So keep working until you can flip it halfway and see what's working with that, what's not working with that. And then maybe try landing a full rotation but with one foot. And then you're just going to practice that a decent amount of times And then over time, you're just gonna be able to try to put the whole trick together. So you don't want to just jump at tricks too fast. You kind of take the small baby steps to get there, and just try to break the trick down into different components. So for example, like varial kickflips, you want to make sure you have your pop shove it and your kickflip down, just so you can put the two together to land the trick. Because if you're missing one, it's going to be a little bit harder to learn that trick. So make sure you kind of go in an order. There's no specific order to go in, but just try to break it up into little steps so that you can land the trick a lot faster. So the fourth tip I have is to make sure you try to skate with other people. You can either try to get your friends to start skating, or maybe even go to a skate park and try to skate with some people there, because if you skate with somebody, you're going to be able to motivate each other with your tricks. So let's say one person's better than you, then they might actually be able to help you with certain tips, and it's going to help you a lot if someone's explaining it to you in person rather than just watching a video and kind of seeing what's going wrong. So you have a person that you skate with and they're a little bit better than you, make sure you use them as a resource, because they actually can probably help you a lot. And especially if you see someone just learn a trick, ask them how they learned that trick, and they might be able to help you and give you certain tips on how they learned that trick. And it's mainly because everybody learns tricks kind of in their own way. There's no specific way. So somebody else's tips might be able to help you, and you might not be able to hear those tips from other people. So just make sure you use as many skaters around you to learn your tricks, and also use them as a source of motivation. And lastly, I know this is one of the cheesiest things I could say, but it's just to skate as much as possible and never give up. I'm telling you, this is the main key to skateboarding or just learning anything. Nothing is going to happen overnight. Sometimes it can, but most of the time it's going to take hard work and practice, and that's just part of learning. And you just have to try to enjoy that as much as possible, because it's taking really long to land a trick and then finally land it. There's nothing that can beat that feeling because of how much effort you put into it. So just make sure you work really hard and know that you're going to land it eventually. Nothing is really impossible unless you're saying you want to do like a centuple flip on flat ground. Maybe that might be possible. But it's definitely gonna be extremely hard. So I'm telling you, you just have to stay really motivated. If you're really dedicated to land a trick, you're eventually gonna land it, because if you're not really into it, then you're just gonna be like, whatever, screw this trick. So just try to stay as motivated and as dedicated as you can to landing that trick, and just never give up on it. So those are just 5 quick tips for me. That's how I kind of learned my own tricks at my own pace. It was pretty surprising learning some of those tricks, because I feel like I shouldn't have been ready to learn those tricks. I landed them sometimes sketchy, but it was just really surprising that I was actually able to do a trick that some people weren't even able to do as much, such as like laser flips. And honestly, I don't even really consider myself that skilled. I just consider myself a person who just put in a lot of work into my skateboarding to learn the tricks that I did. So as long as you put in the work, you can learn the tricks that I have and maybe even be a lot better than me, because I don't feel like I'm that good. Yeah, try to use these tips to help you learn tricks. If you're still having trouble with any of your tricks, feel free to message me on Instagram. It's SeanBrown99, and I'll give you a personal skate support on your tricks that you're learning. I responded to every single person so far. I'm still gonna try to do that until like the numbers get way too high. I'm still gonna try to respond to as many people as possible, but so far I've been able to get to everybody that's asked me for help. But yes guys, I hope this helps you learn how to learn any trick that you want to. I know it's pretty funny just saying any. But yeah, hopefully it's super helpful. Make sure you leave a like, comment down below, and also subscribe if you're new. I see I'm bringing in a whole bunch of new subscribers with my Why You Can't series, so make sure you check that out if you haven't. If you want to learn how to ollie, frontside 180, backside 180, I'm gonna make more of those videos for other tricks as well that I see a lot of people struggle with. Also, don't mind the giant pimple on my forehead. But yes, I hope you guys have an amazing day. Seriously, if you need any help, please message me. I'm always going to reply as much as I can, so please do that. Otherwise than that, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Peace.